He arrived in Canada with nothing. No English. No connections. Just $200 in his pocket and a wife who believed in him when the whole world didn't. Today, Tony Beets owns a mining empire worth over $20 million. He vacations in an oceanfront condo in Mexico with a hot tub on the deck. He has a fleet of machines worth more than most people will earn in a lifetime. And Gold Rush made him one of the most recognized faces on television. But here's the thing nobody talks about. While Tony Beets lives like a king during the off-season, during mining season, the man sleeps on a couch. Just a couch. With nothing but water and chocolate milk in his fridge. That contrast tells you everything you need to know about Tony Beets. He earned every single dollar the hard way. And today we're going to walk through exactly how he lives, what he owns, and why a man worth this much still refuses to slow down. Before we get into the luxury, you have to understand where this all started, because that story makes the lifestyle mean something. Tony Beets was born on December 15, 1959, in a small frozen village in the Netherlands. His family had 4 kids, 52 cows, and barely enough money to survive each month. By the time Tony was 5 years old, he was waking up before sunrise to milk cows by hand. He did that every single day before school for 8 straight years. Their house was 89 square meters for 6 people. He shared a bed with his 2 brothers until he was 14. His father worked over 14 hours a day and still couldn't make enough. His mother collapsed twice during calving season and had to be hospitalized once. This was Tony's childhood. Not comfort, not luxury, pure survival. By the time he was 18, Tony could already see that the farm had no future. The math was simple and brutal. The farm earned around 9,480 guilders in a good year, but the costs were over 12,000. Diesel prices had tripled. Milk prices hadn't moved in 3 years. His own wage was less than minimum. When their best cow died and his father sat down crying over the numbers, Tony made his decision. He had heard that Canadian farm workers made more than double what he was earning. So in 1980, he packed up everything, grabbed his girlfriend Minnie, and left. They landed in Abbotsford, Canada. With just $1,200 between them, no English, and no plan except to work harder than everyone else around them. Their first years in Canada were rough in a way most people can't even imagine. Tony worked at a mushroom farm in dark, windowless rooms that smelled like rot and ammonia. He made $3.50 an hour. Minnie, who was pregnant, sorted mushrooms for even less. They lived in a cold basement and slept in their winter coats. After 8 months, they had both lost 30 pounds. They thought about going back home, but they didn't. Then Tony moved into construction, and that's when things took a turn. A scaffolding collapse sent him falling 30 feet. He cracked his skull and spent 6 days in the hospital. But the injury payout was $10,000. That was the most money Tony had ever seen in his life. He used it to buy a truck and tools and swore he would never work for someone careless with other people's lives again. That money and that decision changed everything. He moved north to the Yukon. He drove an old 1976 Ford pickup with $200 in his pocket and a broken truck that broke down 6 times on the Alaska Highway. He arrived in Dawson City with nothing and asked every mining camp for a job. People laughed at him. But Tony could operate heavy machinery like nobody else. He got hired at $12 an hour, drove a bulldozer into a sluice box on his first day, and caused $3,000 in damage. Then worked 16-hour days until they decided he was worth keeping. That stubbornness was the foundation of everything he would build. Now let's talk about what all those decades of grinding actually built. Because Tony Beets today does not live like someone who once heated baby bottles over a candle flame. He lives very, very well. His company, Tamarack Incorporated, now holds 337 mining claims across the Yukon. In a strong season, his operation pulls between 1,500 and 2,000 ounces of gold, which works out to between $3 million and $4.1 million in gold value alone. After costs, his net income sits comfortably between $1.5 million and $2.2 million every single year. And that's just from the mining. On top of that, Discovery Channel pays him between $300,000 and $400,000 per year for his appearances on Gold Rush and its spin-offs. That number was a long time coming. When he first joined the show in Season 2, he was only supposed to appear in 3 episodes, earning $10,000 per episode. He wasn't meant to be a star. He was just a rough Dutch miner in the background. But then he went after Parker Schnabel on camera in a curse-filled rant that got 50,000 comments online in a single day and pushed ratings up 23% that week. Discovery noticed immediately. They brought him back, bumped his pay, extended his screen time, and by 2018, Tony was earning $175,000 per episode. Not bad for a man who once fixed brakes with wire hangers on an icy mountain pass. His equipment fleet alone is worth $5 million. He owns 12 excavators, 8 bulldozers, 4 wash plants, and the legendary Viking dredge, which is the only operating dredge of its kind left in all of North America. He bought that dredge in 2010 for $1 million when most people thought it was worthless scrap. He spent 2 more years and another $1 million bringing it back to life. By 2014, that same dredge pulled 5,000 ounces of gold in a single season, worth $10 million. It became the most iconic piece of equipment on the show and one of the most valuable assets Tony owns. Everything in his fleet is owned outright. No loans, no leases. He paid for every machine with money he earned from the ground up. Now here's where it gets interesting, because Tony Beets the miner and Tony Beets off the clock are 2 completely different people. During mining season, which runs roughly 7 months a year, Tony lives on the work site. He sleeps on a couch in a basic cabin in the Yukon. His fridge has water and chocolate milk. That's it. He works 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, rain or snow or mud, it doesn't matter. He has lost fingers to frostbite. He has passed out from carbon monoxide poisoning inside a mine. He has soaked frozen black fingers in warm water for weeks rather than fly out for medical help because he couldn't afford to stop working. Even now, at 65 years old, with millions in the bank, that work ethic hasn't changed. Some people say Tony Beets is the last of a dying breed, a man who still believes that the only way to earn something is to bleed for it. But when the season ends and the snow comes, Tony Beets disappears to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And that is where the other side of the story lives. He owns an oceanfront condo there that sits right on the water. There's a hot tub on the deck. He wakes up to ocean views instead of frozen mud. He spends around $50,000 a year just on vacations there. After months of brutal Yukon winters and 14-hour shifts in freezing equipment cabs, Tony trades all of it for warm salt air and a view that most people only see in travel magazines. It is one of the most striking contrasts in reality television. The man who sleeps on a couch beside a broken motor during mining season is the same man sipping something cold on an oceanfront deck in Mexico when the season is done. Both versions are completely real, and neither one is a performance. His total real estate holdings are valued at around $1.5 million. That includes his Yukon home, the Puerto Vallarta condo, and other properties he has accumulated over the years. He also has around $800,000 invested in the stock market. So while many people see Tony as just a miner who gets dirty on television, the financial picture is much more complex. He has diversified. He has built real wealth that goes beyond gold prices and mining seasons. And he has done it without a degree, without a mentor, and without anyone handing him anything. Behind all of this is Minnie. She has managed their $5 million yearly budget with a kind of precision most accountants dream about. She is not just a supporting character in Tony's story. She is a full partner in everything he has built. When their main excavator died in 2000, she leased a new one for $200,000 without even telling Tony, and it saved their entire season. She is the reason Tamarack Incorporated runs like a machine, even when Tony is too deep in a trench to think about the books. Their children grew up on the mines too. Their daughter Monica became the youngest female bulldozer operator in the Yukon at just 16 years old, eventually making $80,000 a season. Their son Kevin proved his father wrong by pulling 1,000 ounces of gold from old equipment on his own land in 2015, worth $400,000. Their son Mike once managed a 5,000-ounce season worth $2 million during a crisis when his whole crew walked out. Tony looked at the camera afterward and just said, "Mike saved our asses." What makes Tony Beets a real vintage television legend, though, isn't just the money or the machines. It's the way he built all of it on his own terms. He refused to follow Discovery scripts. He walked away from staged arguments and fake equipment breakdowns. He told producers directly, "This is real mining, not Hollywood garbage. Find your drama somewhere else." And his ratings didn't drop. They went up 15%. In 2023, his team pulled 7,000 ounces of gold, worth $2.8 million, the highest single-season total in Gold Rush history. The milestone episode drew 6 million viewers. The man who was supposed to appear in just 3 episodes ended up becoming the soul of the entire show. There is something unforgettable about Tony Beets when you step back and look at the full picture. He came from nothing. He nearly lost fingers to frostbite. He went bankrupt once. He got scammed, sabotaged, flooded, fined, and nearly killed more times than most people experience in a lifetime. And through all of it, he kept going. He built a $20 million empire in one of the coldest, most unforgiving places on Earth. He turned an old, rusted dredge that 2 companies went broke trying to restore into the most productive machine on his operation. He turned a Dutch farm boy who couldn't speak English into one of the most recognized miners in the world. The rich and luxurious lifestyle of Tony Beets didn't come from luck or inheritance or a lucky break. It came from 40 years of choosing work over comfort, over safety, and sometimes even over family. Today, he has all of it. The oceanfront condo, the million-dollar machines, the television fame, the gold. But ask anyone who knows Tony Beets what he is really about, and they will all say the same thing. He is at his happiest on that couch in the Yukon, with chocolate milk in the fridge and a full season still ahead of him. That, more than anything else, is who Tony Beets really is.